Unable to cope with the wild boar plague, the U.S. turned to slaughtering animals. After finding every solution to deal with the invasive wild boar problem, the U.S. government is finally turning them into a food source for chefs and suppliers. Wild boar invasion is raging in many U.S. states. In 1493, Christopher Columbus brought 8 pigs to the Western Hemisphere as food. To date, the descendants of these pigs have reached 6 million in 35 states across the United States, causing many problems. In Texas alone, the number of feral pigs has reached 2 million, making this state the epicenter of the wild pig problem. They are identified as invasive wild boars, causing $2.5 billion in damage to the forestry industry, crops, and livestock producers. Besides, they also spread diseases to humans and pets. In Texas alone, the number of feral pigs has reached 2 million, making this state the epicenter of the wild pig problem. Expert Casey Frank from the nonprofit organization FarmShare has witnessed the destructive power of feral pigs. In June 2022, a severe drought occurred in central Texas. Mr. Casey noticed that the crops on FarmShare's 4-hectare organic farm were dug up. That's because wild boars in the area search everywhere for food. The herd of pigs includes 6 adult pigs, each weighing more than 92 kilograms. They have caused great damage to FarmShare. Many government agencies have sought to respond. For example, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, and state wildlife protection agencies have prevented the increase in wild boar numbers for decades, but have not been successful. In 1890, a group of hunters brought 13 Eurasian wild boars to a hunting reserve in New Hampshire. They are famous for being smart, alert, and difficult to catch. Hunters in the area also set traps but were ineffective. Expert Casey also tried it for a long time and failed. Wild boars are so smart that they know it's a trap, so they don't go into it. In the end, the trap becomes a delicious piece of food for the birds to eat, said this expert. According to Michaela Killam, a wildlife research expert at Texas A&M University, breeding wild boars makes them more agile, and their numbers are increasingly overwhelming, making control more difficult. Use wild boar as a food source. To deal with this situation, many state governments in the U.S. with large wild boar populations have allowed hunters to hunt. Some workers set traps to bring them to market. At Daidu Restaurant in Austin, Texas, wild boar is processed into attractive dishes for diners, appearing on the menu. Meanwhile, Broken Arrow Farm in Texas has cooperated with hunters to set traps for wild boars, take them to the slaughterhouse, and process them for meat packaging and supply to the market. This farm is now becoming a meat supplier, selling 1,500 to 700 wild boar each year. However, bringing wild boar meat to consumers is not easy. A Broken Arrow representative said that, unlike the wild venison the farm still supplies, wild boar is currently part of a federally inspected meat group. Suppliers who want to sell need a lot of time and effort to find a slaughter facility approved by the USDA. Initially, we encountered a lot of opposition from USDA. We are clearly contributing to helping the state reduce the number of invasive feral pigs. Fortunately, in the end, officials realized this was a great solution, Mr. Fay said, a representative of Broken Arrow Farm. To ensure the amount of meat meets standards, Shogun Farm on the outskirts of Tampa, Florida, also eliminates odors by raising wild pigs for 6 months. They are quarantined, dewormed, and closely monitored. This labor-intensive result creates quality meat that many customers say eats no different from Wagyu pig.